been on top of that all the way.
If I hear somebody saying that they're not going to come to your house, knowing they're at home, things like she's gone after her daughter. Yeah, somebody checked on her right in there for a couple days. Plus, we watch it too. Yeah. We don't have a problem with it.
Good afternoon. Welcome everyone to this special commissioner meeting today for Beaver County. We want to welcome all the visitors out in the audience with us today and those up on the campus. I'm going to actually have them introduce themselves real quick. I'm going to start to my right and let him speak for himself.
Ron Christensen, Beaver County Attorney. Welcome everyone.
Tammy Pearson, the Commissioner.
Brandon Yardley, Commissioner. Cody Black, Sheriff.
Stephanie Moss, Commission Secretary.
I'm Commissioner Hollingford, so thanks for being here today. We're well aware that we've been blessed with an abundant amount of moisture up on our mountain, and which is a good thing. Obviously, that does sometimes create other problems with the flooding situation. That is certainly a potential, and that's why we're here today to kind of discuss that for a minute. I'm actually going to turn, do one of you two want to kind of have a little discussion about this morning first and kind of give us a little rundown where we're at? All right, Commissioner Pearson, if you would.
Okay, I see we got a handful of our, I thought I did, Forest Service guys in here. Yep.
There's one.
One. I was thinking there was one. Anyway, but one's good.
Yes.
We have an annual Forest Service meeting with them and UDOT and Beaver City and just talk about the regular maintenance up and down, the mouth of the canyon, just for, not necessarily flood control, but just making sure that the debris and stuff is out of the road and it's clean, and hopefully with the spring runoff that we don't have issues on down through the bridges and the waterways and the power plants and that, and then on into the grove and everywhere else. And so we kind of hijacked the regular meeting that's just supposed to be all nice and peaceful, and we started planning for flooding. Considering that our snowtail sites put another inch on the water, or inch of water on the mountain again, even with that little storm last night, we're way above average. We have no idea if and or when that water's coming down, but we're doing our best to mitigate it. And so we actually had everybody there, didn't we? We had the sheriff's office was there, EMS was all there, plus the regulars, the Forest Service, and my mind's blanking.
UDOT.
Yeah, UDOT.
City.
The city, all our regional UDOT people were there. So anyway, everybody's in. We don't want anybody panicking. We just want you to know that the county's been very proactive the last week. They've been working the channel really hard. They've got 2 excavators, a cat, and 2 loaders, and they've been actively removing debris out of the river. So we're asking everybody, I mean, we can't do it all for you, but we're asking property owners to be very proactive and aggressive on their own properties as well. All Corey's going to be able to do is just get debris and trees and stuff out of the channel right now, get it up on the bank, and hopefully it doesn't, wash out some of these roads. But considering the amount of water that's coming down, it could be some sticky situations. I mean, it's only been 4 years ago, 2019, and we did a little bit of preparation then, but we all know that you just can't control Mother Nature and when and where that water's going to come down. So I'm assuming most of you live next to the river and are doing your own part. So continue to do that and hope for the best. That's good enough.
Good enough. I will say, I'm going to turn time over to Sheriff Black just for a minute. We do have some sand and sandbags. I'm going to let him kind of explain that. If you want to get that, it's available. Sheriff?
So right now, what we've got is we have our corrections deputies and inmates are filling sandbags. They're free to the public. We're filling them, and they're stored on the northeast corner of the front of our parking lot. So if you come down the Serpentine and just go over into the northeast corner, I believe there's 2 or 3 pallets right now. I'm not exactly sure how many, but we are continually filling them. We have more sand out back and bags, and we'll keep filling those. So if you are someone that needs sandbags, come out and take advantage of it. You can load some up and take them. No, I do not have staff standing by to load for them. So if you can't put them in the back of your truck yourself, please find somebody to come with you and help you load them. And we'll continue offering that as long as we can to help get through this.
Perfect.
I would add that there are also local scout troops that are filling scout bags, and also local church groups have also volunteered to fill sandbags. So it's become a community.
That's up around, just for those of you who don't know, that's up around the rodeo grounds, the rodeo arena, the racetrack. There's shit, that right?
Yes.
And I think they filled like 300 or 400. Tyler Fells with his church group or scouts or something filled a whole bunch up there. So there are sandbags up there as well. Same kind of a thing, just to do it yourself. We did have a problem that some of the bags that they came and they filled with didn't have the ties with them. And so we have not done it yet that I know of, and we'll try to make an adjustment to that. But maybe when you go to pick these up, if you've got some string with you or zip ties or whatever, they're very inexpensive compared to what a flood can be. Maybe stop by, grab you some, and if the bags haven't been zip tied shut or whatever, then do it yourself, and they'll still work for you.
Perfect, thank you.
If we run out of sand, we'll bring more sand, so don't be shy.
And actually, I think on the west side, we are going to get some sand down by the fairgrounds, so that'll be, on the west side as well, so.
As of now, they've hauled 2 semi-loads up to the rodeo grounds and 2 semi-loads out to the jail. So county's been furnishing a lot of sand. And don't wait for the county to do it for you. Do what you can. If you've had flood issues before at your house or whatever, then you got to be proactive. And we appreciate that.
And that's kind of what this meeting's here today for, is to be proactive. And obviously, there's not flooding happening right now, but obviously there's going to be a big chance of that happening. So we want to be proactive today. When we make this proclamation or this declaration, it actually allows us to access funds and other things that is beneficial for the county and for all of us. So that is why we do this today, is to get ahead of that and be prepared. I think if we're prepared, then we can try to mitigate some of the the issues. I mean, obviously we can't control everything or Mother Nature, but we do the best we can, right? So that's why we're here today. Anything else, Counselor?
If I could just bring up one thing, Commissioner. So one of my assignments from this morning's meeting was to contact the Department of Public Safety Commissioner in reference to this, and I'm not trying to jump in ahead of this, but so it's not forgotten, and we don't forget to explain it, that just with you guys enacting, with our commission enacting the declaration or the state of emergency, don't expect to see anything immediately from the state of Utah declaring the same thing, because there is code that's when they declare a state of emergency statewide, that can only run for 30 days, and if it goes beyond that 30 days, then they have to hold a special session to come in and vote to continue that. And so the commissioner explained it to me. He says, don't get frustrated. The counties that are doing this are getting ahead of the game, and we're glad they're doing it because it's going to help us out. But if you don't see an or an immediate reaction from the state of Utah, here's why. They don't want to start that declaration and have the 30 days running right now and we don't have any flooding.
Perfect. Okay, with that, I'm going to read this proclamation, then we'll have a discussion and a vote, okay? So, a proclamation declaring a local state of emergency due to the potential of severe flooding in Beaver County. Whereas the snowpack in Beaver County appears to be at a record-setting levels. The snow water equivalent at Big Flat is currently at 214% of median, and the snow water equivalent at Merchant Valley is 201% of median, according to the USDA statistics for March 30th, 2023. And whereas Beaver County and the local municipalities in Beaver County are preparing for potential flooding depending on the weather this spring, and whereas Beaver County is in immediate need of assistance in dealing with flooding throughout the county. Now therefore, the Board of the Beaver County Commissioners of Beaver County, Utah hereby proclaim that a local state of emergency now exists throughout the county, and it is further proclaimed and or that during the existence of this said local state of emergency, the powers, functions, and duties of the emergency organizations of this county shall be those prescribed by state law, by ordinances, and by resolutions of the county, and that this emergency proclamation shall serve as a notice to all municipal, state, and national government and organizations who may be able to provide resources. And this above proclamation is confirmed by the Board of Commissioners of Beaver County, Utah, this the day of March 30th, 2023, by the following vote. With that, I will ask for a vote on this proclamation.
I make a motion.
Or a
first.
motion, then yes, a motion.
Okay.
A motion?
Yeah, I would make a motion that we approve the proclamation.
I second that.
Any other discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, make that unanimous. I guess we can have a slight discussion. Is there any questions? I don't know if there's any major, let's have just a few discussion items. If there's anyone has a question, I'll give you a couple of minutes to ask some questions. So anyone has any questions for us? Go ahead.
I have a tree that came from somewhere in the river behind my house. And if the water gets any higher, it's going to take it further down and end up blocking the bridge. There's not on the trail. And is that something that I need to be concerned about and keep you guys posted or anything like that?
So is the tree actually in the riverbed now?
Yes.
Yeah, I think we're working our way up the river, all the way up to the south of the canyon. So they should be able to, we'll pull that tree out of the way.
Okay.
Yes.
Because I can't go down.
Yes. Yeah, that's going to get pulled out.
I'll take something on that, Commissioner.
Yeah, go ahead.
I would say that any time that you see something that looks like it's an emergent or an imminent threat of causing structural damage or something like that, we have people, or the county has people that are continual, as I said, working right now up the river, and they're trying to clear all these things. But if you, as the citizens, see something that is causing an imminent danger to one of our bridges or something like that, please call us. Call the sheriff's office. We can reach out to the appropriate authority, whether it be the county or the city, let them know where the problem's at, and that way we can get on it.
I didn't know who to call it.
Well, now you do.
There's an orange pipe coming out of the big piece of concrete that people cross the river through down there.
Anybody in there work for the county road?
And it is unfortunate.
I will relay that to Chief Deputy Maycock. Would you please get with Superintendent Beebe with the county road? Tell him we got a problem.
Right now, they're headed that way. They're about a half mile above the highway down here, and they're going up towards the rodeo grounds and then up through the grove after that. So they will get there probably next week before you'll see them.
Helen?
I just wonder if they're gonna put water down the ditch.
What?
I'm sure there's going to be water going in every ditch and everything.
Okay, one of the things that I'm concerned about is that my neighbor just put in a culvert, and it's widened that, extended that, pipe that goes across the road there in front of my house about 30 feet, so it's about 60 feet now. And in the past, we've had trouble with debris getting caught in that culvert, and my nephew had to go down and up to his belly in ice cold water to get it from, you know, like to let it loose. So do I just call the sheriff if that becomes an issue?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Because that's been an issue in the past, and, I'm right the way, so.
Well, what I'd say too right now is let's all of us be proactive. If we see debris of small branches we can get out, let's get the ditches cleaned out the best we can, for
Of course,
sure.
I won't be able to do it.
Well,
you know.
right, somebody, but, you know, the big stuff, obviously, we're gonna, you know, come in with, you know, with our big machines and do that, but, you know, smaller stuff, we can't get all that stuff, so please, if you see that, go for it and get it out.
And one more I missed it, I'm sorry, I was a little bit late. Sandbagging, we had sandbagging when Charles and I first moved here. I have no one to do that for me if I need it, and I needed it in the past to keep it from, the water from running down. If the ditch gets too high, then my house is in the way.
We can get you some sandbags.
Yeah.
We'll get it. Anybody else?
Yeah, my residence is just across the Beaver River from the rodeo grounds, and we have this little bridge going across on Holly Lane.
Yep.
It's very shallow there underneath that bridge. I was just wondering if there was a possibility that the county could do some dredging there.
It's all
And I
being
think
looked
that
at.
bridge might
I think
go.
all that's being looked at, absolutely. They're gonna come right up to, right up it. Yep.
Okay.
That is a very narrow bridge.
My
and
neighbor,
tough spot, actually.
next door to me, who lives in Arizona and is never around, there's quite a bit of debris on the bottom of his property fairly close to the river. A little worried about it coming down.
Yeah, we're trying to clean up all that stuff. Yep, you got it.
Yeah, and I think to be clear, the excavator right now is coming, you know, from the freeway up the river, and they're just picking up debris and setting it out of the channel. I'm trying to get as much of that stuff, you know, and be safe, whatever you guys are doing, but if you've got neighbors or kids that need a job or whatever else, be as proactive as possible. So, I appreciate that.
If we get inundated with money, will some of that go to the damage on the road? Due to the excess water?
We don't know.
I know, I'm just.
We're wishing.
Well,
We hope we have an excess of money to use it everywhere, but, you know, we're not in charge of all that stuff, that's for sure.
I know, the best, I think more even the money end of it is not the issue, it's,
No.
these guys know me, my thing is you ask for forgiveness, not permission. The way I do things, and so we're trying to clear or cover our butts or whatever you want to say, so we can get in the river and do things that normally you wouldn't be allowed to do. But, you know, what are they going to say when, you know, we're all flooding? So we're just trying to take care of our citizens and do as much, or the least amount of damage to the infrastructure, the roads, the pipelines, the power, whatever. I know our county guys have, in the 40 years that I've lived here, this will be the 10th year that it's flooded. And chances are it's coming to Milford, you know, it'll probably make it all the way. The only advantage we have right now is Minersville Reservoir is maybe about a third full. So we got a little bit of buffer, but if that starts moving out of the mouth of the canyon like it's done some of these other years, it's only going to take about 7 or 8 days for that to fill. So as of April 1st, and hopefully the canal companies, if you guys know canal and the irrigation companies, hopefully they've got their ditches cleaned and ready to go, because the county can't get into those smaller, you know, those smaller areas and clean. Everybody's gonna have it, like we talked this morning, it's an all hands on deck. And you can't wait for the county to help you. You better do what you can, and then we'll try and come up and clean up after that. But we're being proactive. I think we've got at least a couple of weeks window that we can do the rivers channel and the bigger channels, and hopefully, you know, mitigate some of the harsher impacts. But nobody knows. Maybe it slows down and it comes down in a perfectly happy way and we have no damage, but yeah, I know, I'm not gonna hold my breath over it.
Do you have any estimated time where you might open the ditch so that I can keep an eye on it?
I can guarantee you the ditches are gonna probably be open Saturday.
Thank
Because
you.
the Beaver guys up here can take the water on the first, so they're probably gonna put water in the ditches tomorrow.
Okay, because I can keep an eye on it. Okay,
Yep.
thank you.
Just so I can clarify too, you can call the sheriff's office for any emergency. That doesn't mean that I'm going to be sending people. I mean, our deputies ain't against getting in the water and helping in an emergency. So but like going and crawling in culverts and stuff just to remove branches. I'd try to get ahead of that, but we are kind of the emergency number. There's not an emergency number for Beaver County Road or whatever, so you're welcome to call through us, and we'll try to get you to where you need to be. Except for if you do ask for Sergeant Glenn Woolsey by name, he can come and clear you over.
They'll tie a rope on his leg over the edge.
All right, Counselor, you have
I'll
anything else?
remember that.
Counselor?
I was just gonna ask, how did you guys find out about this? What's the best way to get the word out? We got a big crowd, so,
I heard it, I live on the river.
so who did you hear from?
My neighbor.
Oh,
I heard that a friend called me and said it was on Facebook.
And I heard from
Social
my
media?
friend right here, and then I heard from Facebook.
Social media?
Should we be looking, or how
Well,
should we be?
Well, that's what we're trying to figure out.
that's what we're trying to figure out, what the best way is to
Because I
keep.
just found out by our neighbor, okay?
So let us tell you part of the conversation, is what I would say. We talked about trying to get just a gentle message that everybody be proactive on their own property, right? We're trying to figure out what the best way is to do that, and part of the conversation, we were kind of laughing about it, but if you ever, they have that reverse 911 call, where you get a call from the school, or you get a call from the sheriff's office, but that startles and worries people, and it kind of puts you in a full-blown panic mode. We don't want to do that if we don't have to. If and or when we have to do that, then there's going to be more of an imminent threat. So I think what we're going to focus on is educating. You guys educate your neighbors. You tell them, you know, and I think the other thing that we should do on Facebook is my cell phone's everywhere. You can text me or call me or whatever. Same thing here. You can email us. We probably should have had some sort of a handout so that we could give that message. But, you know, shoot us a text, shoot us an email, give us a call, whatever. So.
I think a lot of us are already we've been concerned, and so we were kind of watching and waiting for something to happen.
Right.
And so that we're not kind of dumb,
Well,
we know we've got too much snow, and so if we get a big rainstorm, we're going to be in trouble.
Well, as long as it stays cold for a while, we'll be okay. But when we turn 80 degrees and we have 40-mile-an-hour wind, you better go for the high country.
Mr. Yarley?
So I've just been telling people it's math at this point. At 200% of normal, we know the 40-degree days are gonna go away and the 70 and 80-degree days are coming. So just do what you can to be proactive and be ready for that. The county is trying to be proactive and do what we can. This helps us keep ourselves out of trouble and get ready for the water that is coming. And when it comes, we hope that we're ready for it. And with your help, I think we can be ready. And don't be afraid to reach out if you see something that needs to be looked at. So.
I want to say thank you.
Perfect. Sheriff Black, anything else?
No, thank you guys, and just help spread the message that we're not panicking yet, but it's coming, so.
So the fire department is gonna start actively training with the sheriff's search and rescue, on swift water rescue type stuff. And we just like to remind folks that when that water gets roaring, it's a pretty dangerous situation. Work with somebody, don't be out there alone next to the ditch or the water, and, that way if you do go in, somebody could call and we might have a chance in helping you. And then along with that is some of the members of the church and the scouts are gonna probably seek out some folks that might need some extra help or that to try and get, some sandbagging done. And your name is, ma'am?
Helen Finn.
Yeah.
I live on the corner of 12 and 2.
Oh, all right.
They just where the ditch goes under the under 12. I'm right there, and then I'm downhill, so I am potentially.
Right. So we have had some incidents where we've had equipment go in and guys that, they're just hanging on by a thread trying to stay out of the water. So when that water does get moving, please work with somebody, let somebody know that, where you're at and then that, and hopefully we can help you if you get into trouble. But it's a quick thing, and once it happens, it's going to be hard to get somebody out. So we are going to start training on that and getting some extra equipment and hope that we don't have to use that. So that's part about training is we train and hope that we never have to use that.
Like, I think that's the message, is plan for the worst, hope for the best, and keep an eye on your neighbor, make sure you keep an eye on everybody and spread that same message, because we really need all hands on deck, everybody needs to kind of pitch in and help us out. So, glad you're here.
Thanks for coming, thanks, George, and with that, I'm going to declare the meeting adjourned. Thanks for coming, everyone.
Thank you.
Hold you, don't leave without your evaluators.
Thank you.